The evening air was thick with the scent of jasmine from the garden, an intoxicating backdrop to the quiet of our home. The sun had just dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, a daily masterpiece fading into twilight. It was during this serene moment, the transition from day to night, that I sensed the subtle shift in atmosphere that preluded a memorable night. Inside, the house was bathed in the soft glow of lamplight, casting gentle shadows across the bedroom walls. The world outside quieted, but inside, a palpable tension began to build, as unpredictable yet promising as the brewing storm on a summer's eve. I finished my nightly rituals, the comforting routine of brushing my hair and applying night cream to my face, all while the silence of the house wrapped around me like a soft blanket. But the calm was interrupted by the soft creak of the door, and there he was, James, standing in the doorway with a smirk playing on his lips. It was a look that didn't need words, one that spoke of mischief and hinted at excitement. His eyes, normally a calm sea, now flickered like the flames of a fire, alive and dancing with secrets. "I see you're ready for bed," he commented casually, but his tone was laced with an undercurrent of anticipation. The playful smile on his face told me whatever he had planned wasn't going to allow the night to end just yet. "Looks can be deceiving," I replied, my voice steady despite the flutter in my stomach. I knew him well enough to understand that this was no ordinary evening. Something in his demeanor suggested that he had been plotting, scheming something that would undoubtedly add a new layer to the tapestry of our lives. As he stepped further into the room, the light caught the subtle outline of something in his pocket. Curiosity piqued, I watched every deliberate move he made. With each step he took, the room seemed to shrink, the air charged with electricity. He approached with the confidence of a man who knew exactly what he was doing, yet there was a softness in his approach that belied the excitement simmering beneath his calm exterior. It was in these moments, these tiny slices of time filled with expectancy, that I remembered why I had fallen in love with him. James had the ability to transform ordinary seconds into profound experiences, a magician in the art of surprise. "Are you ready for a little adventure?" James asked, his voice a blend of challenge and charm. The question hung in the air, an invitation to step into the unknown together. As he closed the distance between us, every step resonated like a note in the melody of our shared existence, setting the stage for a night that promised to be anything but ordinary. As the door closed behind him, the world seemed to pause. James stood there, a silhouette framed by the soft hallway light, his presence filling the room with an unspoken promise. His slow, measured steps toward me were like the soft ticking of a clock, each second pulsing with anticipation. My heart raced, not just from his proximity, but from the profound silence that enveloped us, as if the night itself was holding its breath. His gaze never wavered, a piercing intensity that seemed to see through to my very soul. There was a depth in his eyes tonight, a storm of emotions swirling within that I hadn't seen before. As he reached me, the air shifted, charged with an electric current that drew me to him irresistibly. He stood close, so close that I could feel the warmth of his breath, each exhale a whispered caress against my face. "Is everything all right?" I managed to ask, my voice a soft tremor in the quiet room. James simply smiled, that familiar, heartwarming gesture that had charmed me from our first meeting. Yet tonight, it was tinged with a seriousness that made my stomach flutter with a mix of nerves and excitement. "Everything's more than all right," he replied, his voice a soothing balm that eased my anxious thoughts. "I just want to share something with you, something important." His hands, those strong, gentle hands, reached out to cup my face. The touch was tender, filled with the love and history of our years together, but there was also a firmness, a determination that spoke of his resolve. "Tonight, I want us to connect deeper than we ever have," he continued, his words painting visions of a shared future, of secrets unveiled and new paths forged together. The room felt smaller, as if the walls were drawing in, focusing my entire world down to the man in front of me. Jane's thumb traced the line of my jaw, a soothing motion that settled my racing heart. "I've been thinking about this for a long time," he confessed, "about how to take us to a place where we're not just husband and wife, but truly one in every sense." The significance of his words hung between us, a profound declaration of his commitment to our growth, both as individuals and as a couple. It was as if he was offering me the key to a hidden door, behind which lay untold treasures of emotional intimacy and understanding. As he leaned in, the last barrier of distance closing between us, I felt a surge of emotion. This was not just another evening, it was the beginning of a new chapter, one that promised to deepen the love and connection that had always been the bedrock of our marriage. The silence between us grew heavy, filled with anticipation and an undercurrent of something momentous. Jane stood still, watching me with an intensity that both alarmed and thrilled me. It was as if the entire world had paused, waiting for his next words. "I have something I want to ask you," he finally said, breaking the quiet with a voice that carried more weight than usual. His tone wasn't playful this time, it was deep, resonant, and filled with an earnestness that I hadn't heard before. The room seemed to close in around us, focusing all my senses on the man before me. I sat up a little straighter, intrigued and slightly nervous. What could be so important that it changed the playful light in his eyes to this serious, soul-searching gaze? My heart began to pound harder, echoing the seriousness of the moment. James shifted slightly, seeming to gather his thoughts, his eyes never leaving mine. He took a deep breath and reached out, holding my hands in his. The warmth of his grasp was reassuring, yet the gravity of his demeanor made me hold my breath. "You know, we've been through a lot together," he started, "and through it all, I've realized something very important." His fingers tightened around mine, a physical manifestation of his emotional intensity. "You're not just my partner, my wife, you're the cornerstone of everything I am, everything I aspire to be." The words hung in the air, a testament to the depth of his feelings. My heart fluttered, surprised by the depth of his declaration. But there was more. He paused, his gaze deepening, as if he were about to reveal a secret long kept hidden. "I've been thinking about this for a long time," James continued, his voice lowering even more. "Thinking about us, our future, and how I want to build something even more meaningful with you." The anticipation built up, a knot forming in my stomach. What was this leading to? Every moment we had shared, every challenge we had overcome flashed through my mind, highlighting the journey that had brought us to this very second. "Tonight," he said, his eyes locked onto mine, conveying a torrent of emotions, "I want to ask if you would embark on a new adventure with me. An adventure that could change our lives forever." My breath caught in my throat. What kind of adventure was he speaking of? His next words, I knew, would mark the beginning of a new chapter, one that would possibly redefine the contours of our shared life. "But before I ask, I need to know," he added, his voice dropping to a whisper as he leaned closer, "are you ready to dive into the unknown with me, to explore a new depth of our love and commitment?" His question wasn't just a query, it was an invitation to a deeper union, a challenge to step into a future filled with endless possibilities. As the evening shadows lengthened, casting a soft glow through the window, Jane's touch seemed to speak directly to my soul. It was as if, in that gentle caress, he was unraveling years of routine, peeling back layers to reveal a core of raw, unexplored emotions between us. The intensity of his gaze pierced through the familiar, stirring a mixture of anticipation and curiosity deep within me. "Are you sure?" he asked, his voice a soothing balm that both calmed and excited my nerves. I nodded, my heart pounding with a mix of nerves and excitement. The air between us was charged, thick with the promise of new discoveries. As I lay back, the cool sheets a stark contrast to the warmth of his hands, I felt the world tilt slightly, realigned by the gravity of the moment. James positioned himself carefully, his every move calculated to assure and comfort me. His fingers traced the lines of my face, down my neck, and across my shoulders, grounding me in the present. His touch was familiar yet charged with a new energy that made every nerve stand on alert. "I want to show you how much you mean to me, not just through words, but through every touch," he whispered, his breath warm against my ear. His words were a tender echo in the quiet room, a vow that sent a thrill through my core. It wasn't just the physical closeness that left me breathless, it was the emotional closeness that we were weaving together with each passing second. James' hands moved with a reverence as if he was reading a sacred text written in the lines of my body. Each touch was a word, each caress a sentence, and every shared breath a paragraph of a story that was ours alone to tell. The world outside our bedroom faded into insignificance, leaving behind only the profound connection that pulsed rhythmically with our heartbeats. As he explored, his actions spoke of honor and adoration, painting a picture of love that went beyond the surface. The vulnerability of the moment, of being so open and receptive to each other, was both exhilarating and humbling. James explored with a curiosity that honored our years together but ventured beyond into uncharted territories of intimacy. With every deliberate movement, James seemed to ask for permission, his eyes searching mine for reassurance. I responded not just with my body but with my soul, granting him access to the spaces I kept hidden from the world. It was a silent conversation, filled with trust and mutual respect, where every gesture deepened our bond. The night air whispered around us, a soft curtain that secluded us from the rest of the world. In that room, under the tender scrutiny of his love, I felt cherished and celebrated. It was an exploration not just of physical intimacy but of our very essence as partners, lovers, and confidants in this intricate dance of life. In that electric moment, as James's lips tenderly met my skin, the world seemed to fall away, leaving nothing but the profound connection between us. It was as if time had slowed, every breath and heartbeat amplified in the silent room. This wasn't just a physical act, it was an emotional unveiling, a revelation of the depth of James's feelings for me. His hands, warm and reassuring, continued their gentle exploration, tracing the contours of my body with a reverence that spoke volumes. The softness of his touch contrasted with the strength of his hands, each movement deliberate and filled with meaning. There was an unspoken promise in his actions, a commitment to cherish and respect the vulnerability we both shared. I could feel the shift in the atmosphere as we ventured into uncharted territory. The air around us seemed charged with anticipation and a hint of nervous excitement. James paused, his eyes searching mine for any sign of hesitation. Finding none, he continued, his confidence growing with every breath we shared. This was new for both of us, a journey we were embarking on together, guided by trust and a deep, unwavering love. As he moved, the gentle kiss became a lingering embrace, our bodies speaking the language of intimacy that words could never fully express. I felt a rush of emotions, a mix of exhilaration and peace, as if finding a part of myself I never knew was missing. James's presence was both a comfort and a catalyst, pushing boundaries while ensuring I felt completely secure. "Are you okay?" James whispered, his voice a soothing balm in the quiet of the night. His concern was palpable, his need to care for me as vital as his own breath. "Yes," I breathed out, the word barely audible yet heavy with all the trust and love I felt at that moment. "Don't stop," I added, my voice stronger now, empowered by the intimacy of our connection. Encouraged, James's touch became more assured, his movements more fluid. There was a dance-like quality to our interactions, a rhythm that matched the beating of our hearts. The world outside our bedroom had ceased to exist. There was only here, only now, only us. As the night deepened, so did our exploration. Each touch, each kiss, was a discovery, an affirmation of the love we had cultivated over years. This was not just a moment of passion, it was a pivotal point in our relationship, a deepening of the bond that had always been the foundation of our marriage. In that sacred space, as we navigated the new and thrilling path before us, I realized that this experience was not just about pleasure. It was about understanding and being understood, about seeing and being seen. James had opened a door to a deeper intimacy, a place where we could both be truly ourselves, vulnerable yet safe in each other's care. This night, transformative and profound, would forever change the landscape of our relationship, imprinting on our hearts a memory that would resonate with love, trust, and an unbreakable connection. As the dawn crept through our curtains, casting a soft glow across the room, it illuminated a truth I had only begun to realize: vulnerability is the truest form of intimacy. In the quiet aftermath of our profound encounter, James and I lay there, wrapped in each other's arms, exploring the new emotional landscape that had unfolded between us. This newfound openness wasn't just about sharing our bodies in a new and thrilling way. It was about delving into the depths of our hearts, revealing secrets and fears that we had cloistered away even from each other. It felt as though every layer peeled back revealed a fresher, more raw connection. Each confession and each tender word spun a stronger thread in the fabric of our bond. James's voice broke the serene silence, his words tinged with both hesitancy and hope. "I've always been afraid of not being enough for you," he admitted, his eyes searching mine for a flicker of reassurance. This confession struck me deeply, resonating with my own concealed insecurities. I squeezed his hand, a silent promise of acceptance and affection. "You've always been more than enough," I whispered back, tracing the lines of worry from his forehead with a gentle finger. "And every day, you prove that to me." His smile in response was shy but filled with relief, a testament to the power of our open hearts. As we talked, the world outside continued to wake, but in our bedroom, time seemed to slow. We discussed dreams we had never dared to voice, fears that we had buried deep, and fantasies that had only danced on the edges of our imagination. Each word we shared stitched us closer, not just as lovers, but as true partners in life's unpredictable journey. This conversation sparked a series of talks that became our new ritual. Whether over morning coffee or late-night whispers, we navigated our thoughts and desires with a newfound courage. It was liberating to speak without filters, to discuss without fear of judgment or rejection. Through this, I realized that intimacy wasn't just about the closeness of bodies, it was about minds and souls dancing in harmony, about hearts sinking in their beats and fears. It was about knowing and being known to such an extent that every touch held 1,000 words and every glance spoke of endless love. Our relationship, once a calm sea, had now delved into deeper waters where we swam with a fervent zest for understanding and acceptance. And as each day passed, we found ourselves not just falling but growing in love, our journey enriched by every shared secret and every silent acknowledgement of our mutual vulnerability. As the dawn crept through the curtains, casting a soft glow over the room, it dawned on me just how much our lives had transformed. It was in these quiet moments that the depth of our renewed bond truly resonated. With each passing day, James and I delved deeper into the layers of our relationship, uncovering emotions and desires we had never dared to explore before. It wasn't just a rekindling, it was a profound rediscovery, a journey back to the heart of what had brought us together, now enriched with the wisdom of experience. Our conversations had shifted, becoming more intimate and revealing than ever. We spoke of things that once lurked in the shadows of our minds, fears that had seemed too daunting to voice, hopes that had been too fragile to share. This new openness wasn't without its challenges. There were moments of vulnerability so intense that they left us feeling exposed and uncertain. Yet, each time we confronted these feelings, it brought us closer, weaving a stronger fabric of trust and understanding between us. One evening, as we lay in the soft embrace of our bed, James turned to me with a look of contemplation. The lamplight flickered softly, casting dancing shadows across his face. "Do you think," he started hesitantly, "that we've been holding back all these years?" The question hung in the air, heavy with implications. I considered it, the layers of daily routines, the unspoken agreements, the silent sacrifices. Perhaps we had, in ways neither of us had fully realized. "Maybe," I replied, my voice a whisper, "but we're not holding back anymore." It was liberating, admitting to these hidden corners of our partnership, acknowledging them not with resentment but with a resolve to grow past them. We discussed dreams we had shelved for the sake of practicality, passions we had muted in the noise of daily obligations. James shared his long-suppressed desire to write, a dream he had set aside to support our family. I confessed my yearning to return to school, to pursue the art degree I had abandoned when the twins were born. Together, we made plans. Not the kind bound by the tight schedules of parental duties or work demands, but plans that were fluid, filled with possibility. We decided to dedicate Sunday mornings to his writing and my sketches, a sacred time for us to support each other's aspirations. This rediscovery of each other's dreams did more than just bring us closer, it reignited the passion that had first drawn us together. It was as if we were meeting again for the first time, each learning from the other in ways we hadn't imagined possible. Our love, already deep, was blossoming into something even more beautiful, nurtured by mutual respect and a shared vision for the future. As we ventured down this path of rediscovery, it was clear that we were not just revisiting the past but creating a new, vibrant tapestry of our lives together. Amidst the everyday hum of life, sometimes the universe gifts us moments so profound they seem to stop time itself. That's exactly what happened the morning I discovered I was pregnant. It wasn't just a turning point, it was a transformation that spun our world in dazzling new directions. That day started like any other, but with a peculiar mix of symptoms, fatigue that clung to my bones and a sudden distaste for my morning coffee, that prompted me to take a pregnancy test. As I waited for the result, the minutes stretched like hours. When 2 pink lines finally appeared, vivid and undeniable, a surge of emotions overwhelmed me. Excitement, fear, wonder, all rolled into one gigantic wave crashing over me. James was downstairs, lost in his weekend ritual of tinkering with his guitar. I remember watching him for a moment from the top of the stairs, seeing him in a new light. He was about to become a father. How would he react? Would he feel ready? My heart pounded with anticipation as I called him up. When I told him the news, his reaction was everything I had hoped for and more. His eyes widened, sparkling with unshed tears, and a joyous grin spread across his face. He rushed to me, wrapping me in a hug so tight it lifted me off the ground. "Really? Are we really going to be parents?" he asked, his voice thick with emotion. In the weeks that followed, our lives became a whirlwind of preparations and excited phone calls to family and friends. We pored over baby books and painted the nursery a cheerful yellow, imagining the laughter and love that would soon fill the room. James, usually so calm, was transformed by his excitement, constantly touching my belly, talking and singing to the growing life inside. As my belly grew, so did our anticipation. We attended ultrasound appointments, where the first heartbeats echoed like the sweetest music, imprinting themselves in our memories. Each flutter and kick from within was a reminder of the miracle we had created together. The day of the twins' birth was a climax of all those months of joyful preparation. The labor was intense and emotional, with James by my side, holding my hand and whispering words of encouragement. When our babies were finally placed in our arms, a boy and a girl, their tiny faces so perfect and new, we both cried tears of joy. It was a moment of pure magic, the beginning of a new life not just for them, but for us as well. With the arrival of our twins, our lives were irrevocably changed. Every sleepless night and tireless day was infused with a profound sense of purpose. We were no longer just a couple, we were a family, bound by love, driven by a deep commitment to nurture and protect our precious children. As the dawn broke over the horizon, its golden light spilled into our room, illuminating the faces of our slumbering twins. In that quiet moment, I realized how profoundly our lives had changed. The chaos of midnight feedings and lullabies had become our new normal, each day a fresh adventure, each night a testament to our enduring love. Navigating life with twins was like steering a ship through uncharted waters. Each cry and giggle was a signal, guiding us towards understanding their unique personalities. Our daughter, with her fierce independence, demanded attention with the strength of her lungs, while our son, contemplative and observant, watched the world with wide, curious eyes. As James and I learned to interpret these signals, we discovered a new rhythm to our life, a dance choreographed by the needs and naps of our little ones. The bond between us, already deep, grew stronger as we faced these challenges together. I watched James transform into a father who could soothe a nighttime terror with a gentle song or turn a blanket into a cape for impromptu playtime. His creativity and patience seemed boundless, and my love for him deepened with each passing day. Yet, with all the joys came the inevitable exhaustion. There were days when the fatigue seemed insurmountable, when the coffee had little effect, and our spirits flagged. But it was during these moments that the strength of our partnership truly shone. We became each other's anchor, finding solace in shared looks of empathy over the heads of our babbling twins. Our home filled with laughter and love, even when sprinkled with the chaos of scattered toys and unfinished chores. One particularly trying evening, as we both collapsed onto our couch after finally putting the twins to bed, James caught my eye and smiled. "Remember when quiet evenings were the norm?" he asked, a twinkle of mischief in his tired eyes. I laughed, the sound mingling with the soft music of the baby monitor. "I wouldn't trade this noise for the world," I replied, squeezing his hand. We talked then about the dreams we still harbored, the places we wished to show our children, the values we hoped to instill. These conversations, once about us and our desires, now included plans for 4. They painted a picture of the future, of soccer games and ballet recitals, of family vacations and holidays filled with joy. As we planned and dreamed, the night deepened around us, wrapping our small family in a blanket of warmth and security. The challenges of parenting twins were many, but they were outweighed by the immeasurable joys. Each day with James and our children was a precious gift, a new chapter in our story of love and family, one that promised to be as filled with surprises as it was with blessings. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow across the room, James and I shared a quiet moment, the kind that feels like a deep breath after a long day. The twins were asleep, and for the first time in what seemed like forever, the house was silent, allowing us to reflect on our journey together. It was moments like these that reminded us how far we had come and how much we had grown, not just as individuals, but as a united family. "Can you believe how quickly they're growing?" James asked, breaking the silence as he nodded towards the sleeping forms of our children. His voice was a mix of wonder and a hint of sadness at the fleeting nature of time. I nodded, feeling a surge of emotions. "It seems like just yesterday we were figuring out how to hold them properly, and now look at them," I replied, my voice tinged with nostalgia. The rapid passage of time was a gentle reminder of the precious moments we needed to cherish. James squeezed my hand, his eyes reflecting the soft light of the room. And to think, all of this started with that one night of unexpected discovery. It's amazing how one moment can set the course for such significant changes, he mused thoughtfully. That night, the one under the bed, had indeed been a catalyst. It was not just the act itself, but the vulnerability and trust it symbolized that had deepened our connection in ways we had never anticipated. It taught us the importance of spontaneity, of seizing the moment, and of being fully present with each other. As we continued to reminisce, we realized that our journey was far from over. There were still many layers of ourselves and each other to explore and understand. The conversation turned to dreams and aspirations, not just for ourselves but for our twins as well. What adventures awaited them? How would they change the world? And how could we best support them in their endeavors? It's about more than just surviving these early years of parenting. It's about thriving together as a family and learning from each other every step of the way, I said, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. James nodded, his gaze filled with determination and love. Let's make a promise, he suggested, to keep finding new ways to surprise each other, to keep the magic alive not just in our relationship but in our family life. I smiled, warmed by the idea. A promise to keep growing, to keep loving, and to keep embracing all the surprises life throws our way, I agreed. As we sat there, hands intertwined, we didn't just see the reflection of the setting sun in each other's eyes. We saw a future bright with possibilities, challenges, and unending love. Together, we were ready for whatever came next, knowing that our bond was our greatest strength and our love, a never-ending story.